Hello, everyone. This is the greatest travel podcast in the universe. But today we're talking sports because it's NFL draft week. And I'm going to go over who the best four quarterbacks are. And you may be asking, who are you? What do you know about sports? I've worked in sports for 20 years. I played all sports growing up. And yeah, that's pretty much what I do for a living, aside from this shitty podcast that some people call it. But let's get into it. I'm going to go over what really should happen for the top four quarterbacks in this draft. And before I start, people aren't going to like my choices. They seem, let me preface this with that I'm not a racist, which I think most racists probably, that's like their first things they say. So that doesn't really help me a lot. My favorite quarterbacks, Randall Cunningham and Patrick Mahomes. My dog's name was Peterson Wade Wiggins. All three athletes. You probably know where I'm going with my NFL picks, but I just want you to know that I don't even like white quarterbacks. Like Peyton Manning, I'd much rather watch before he killed dogs, Michael Vick or Lamar Jackson. Like, I love excitement. I love sports entertainment, which if you're a Manning fan, obviously winning can be entertainment, even though he only won once. And the other time he was dragged there by his defense. So that doesn't count. Anyways, I think the draft right now is too simple. All the mocks have it very simple. It goes Caleb, then it goes Jayden Daniels, Drake Maye, and then JJ at some point, whether that's 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th. My thoughts, and I think it should go JJ McCarthy, 2nd Drake Maye, 3rd Caleb Williams, 4th Jayden Daniels. And here's why. I'll just go through a few of them. I mean, also, I think, again, the mock draft just being too easy. It's never that simple. If Jayden's supposed to go second, if he really was the favorite to go second by and large, like all the mocks are saying and all the agents are saying, he would be like minus 3,000 right now for the second pick. He's only minus 300, which isn't really a huge, like, sure, there's a 60% chance he goes, but I think it's even closer to 50-50, or, we'll see what happens. I think it's a little too easy. Why do I think what I think? Let's start with Caleb. Actually, we'll start with the positives. JJ McCarthy. It's so odd because I think my number one thing for a quarterback in the NFL is he must be a winner. Now, of course, you can look back and like people like Tua, Mac Jones were winners because they played at Alabama. So I get it. There are winners who maybe their team were winners. And you could put JJ in that realm. However, he was 10th grade, 11-1, won the state championship. 11th grade, 11-1, lost the state championship. As a senior in high school, 8-0 COVID year, won the state championship. Sat as a freshman, then went one loss as a sophomore, and then as a junior went undefeated and won the national championship. Sure, he had a great team, but a lot of people have a great team. He's also got strength, size. You're telling me Jayden Daniels didn't have a great team at LSU? Sure, his defense was terrible. I get it. But yeah, JJ has all the intangibles. I just don't understand why he's not being looked at just from the leadership and winning intangible. I think is so important. Then we go to Caleb. Caleb has a few unique things that I don't like. I think you have to be a leader. I think you have to be a winner, which does not say he's not either. He had 33 fumbles over his 3 years, which is a lot. He also had a ton of interceptions. The interceptions I get because his team wasn't that great, so he's kind of just throwing it downfield. He had to make a ton happen, so I completely understand that. But the 33 fumbles is just a lot, like just careless with the ball. I know he had to try to do too much because the team wasn't great, so I get that. But I don't know. I just don't think you can be that reckless with the ball. The FU eye black that he had, I'm not a fan. Like, who does that? Especially when you're the number 1 overall draft pick. It seems like you should probably set more of an example and not be a high schooler wearing stupid t-shirts. So I just thought that was weird, especially when it was, I think, last game of the season when he did that last year, 2 years ago. He did it the whole year, but I mean, the fact that he still did it on a national stage, I thought was really odd. And just other kind of character type things. Does he love football? I think another thing you have to do is you have to love football. And again, I don't know him. I'm sure he's a great guy. But does he love football? I would wonder that. People are comparing him to Patrick Mahomes. And it's like Patrick Mahomes wasn't even Patrick Mahomes. He was a mid first round pick. Tons of people overlooked him. So he kind of had that chip on his shoulder to learn. His also dad was a professional athlete. So he's been born into that leadership mold of just always knowing how a professional should act. And mentally, he's obviously just a mental warrior, which is so important as well that I want in my quarterback. I have no idea Caleb's mental side of his game. I'm just saying there's only one Patrick Mahomes. So there's a lot of people who have his athletic traits in his arm, but only so many people have his mind. Not say he's like LeBron, but sure, LeBron is a freak athlete, but he's also the smartest human being on the basketball court, which is what makes him LeBron versus just, I don't know, Darius Miles. Darius Miles was pretty skinny, but so Caleb is just, I'm not in on him. I'm on JJ before Caleb. When we look back on this, then Jayden Daniels versus Drake Maye. I'm out on I'm out on Jayden Daniels. And here's why. Jayden Daniels is 2 years older than Drake Maye and JJ and maybe Caleb, but let's focus on who he's being drafted ahead of. He's 2 years older. If you take JJ McCarthy and put him on LSU in 2 years, he already went undefeated and won the national championship. What's he going to do in 2 years when he's 2 years older? Like, Jayden Daniels is old, man. Like, imagine any college player twice as old or 2 years older than everyone else. You're absolutely going to wreck house. Like a defensive end, would you allow a defensive end to be 2 years older who's just picking on 17-year-olds when he's 21, 22 even, and think, oh yeah, he's the next thing? I just don't see it. He's also very slender, which, as we learned lately, you can't be a skinny quarterback. He takes some giant hits. Like, just check it out. There's actually a Twitter thing of him just taking hits, and he looks like a Looney Tune. Like, they put Looney Tune music next to it, and now you can't unsee it. I understand he'll learn to slide. He'll be more careful, but still, he's just very slender. And they also said, oh yeah, he's so good at progressions. Only this past year, he's been good at progressions because he's got one of the best offensive lines. His left tackle is going to be like a top 2 pick next year's draft. He's got 2 wide receivers, one going in the top 10, one going in the top 15, 20. He's got absolutely unreal weapons and a great O-line at LSU. So yeah, he's got time to make progressions. Why don't we talk about his other 3+4 years, his time at ASU? Like, okay, finally he's good, but again, if you put Drake or JJ 2 years down the road, they're going to be excessively better. I don't know if excessively was the word I was looking for, but yeah, and I don't know. I'm not as in on Jayden Daniels from the weight size, from being older, from having all the weapons, and he takes a ton of sacks as well, which again we know you can't do in the NFL. You got to get rid of the ball. So I would even take Penix. If Penix didn't have his knee issues, I would take him over Jayden Daniels. So I'm still going to take Jayden Daniels over him. But if Penix stays healthy, I can even see Penix overtaking Jayden Daniels. And then on to Maye. Maye's just got, he reminds me of like a Josh Allen light. He's big, which is great. Big, sturdy guy. He also has just great stories about him as a leader. He I was listening to an interview with his coach. What's his name? Who left? Mac Jones. Not Mac Jones. Mac, the guy from Texas. Sorry. And he was saying that like Drake Maye wouldn't do commercials for his NIL money unless his offensive line got to be in it as well. So they got a cut. He just has all of these things where he's done a ton of leadership things that were never in the news. It's just kind of how he is and how he acts, which again, being a leader is a great intangible you have to have. He's never had a good offensive line. Like his offensive line got a D or a D minus rating. He's got like one wide receiver that's been all right. Aside from that, just no help compared to any of the other three guys on the board. And I just think he's got everything you need to be, that kind of next Josh Allen. If I was going to say compare each quarterback to someone, I would say JJ will end up a better Drew Brees. Drake Maye, a Josh Allen or a Josh Allen light. Caleb Williams is interesting. He could either be like, my brother said this. I kind of was on the same path, but he nailed it. He's either going to be like Donovan McNabb or Aaron Brooks. He's either just going to be a perennial all-pro or just do goofy shit, maybe win you a fantasy title here or there, and that's it. And who else? Jayden Daniels. That's a tough one. I did have a good comparison for him. I mean, he definitely could be Lamar. I just think he's so fragile. And Lamar, I don't know, I just like Lamar more. And I feel like Lamar was a bit thicker too, but I could be wrong. I had a Jayden. I think Jayden could still be good. I just think I'm worried about how fragile he is, how small he is, and that sort of thing. So, yeah, that's my rundown on the quarterback. Something to think about. I put $100 on Drake Maye at plus 250, and I'm really nervous because I think that should be the pick. But now it's like ballooned. Like Jayden now is even more set in that second spot, but not as set as you think he should be, per my earlier talk about that. But it's also the Commanders, and the Commanders are idiots. So whoever they take is not going to be good, and then the Patriots will get the good player. So crossing fingers I'm right. I also have Jayden Daniels, a flyer, as like the 5th pick, and JJ jumps the Patriots at 3rd. So keep an eye out. I know I'm going against the grain, but here to help you. I don't know with what, but those are my thoughts. InspireTravelEat.com, a new sports podcast, but mostly travel and maybe some food. Cheers.